Last time on the Moto, inside the outdoors. Title contention was a multi-year process for the elite American riders in the 250 class. But with 5 riders capable of winning in every moto, Blake Baggett won his first professional championship amidst a generation full of potential. While potential is a foundation for hope, it guarantees nothing. Ryan Dungey represents the dream for anyone trying to make a living on a dirt bike. But his position at the top is something he doubted in the past, questions today, and is constantly trying to reinforce.
Ryan doesn't see himself as a top guy yet. He sees himself as having much more potential and that he has to do more work.
And Dungey is pulling away from James Stewart.
His name is in the headlines of the sports page from Belle Plaine, Ryan Dungey, and it makes you feel proud.
You build up these barriers in your head like there's no way you can do this, but if you believe in it truly enough, a way will create itself and it will happen.
Ryan Dungey's path into professional motocross defied the traditional pattern. Ricky Carmichael earned his first pro contract after winning 9 Loretta Lynn's amateur titles, Davey Millsaps after 9, James Stewart after 11, and Mike Alessi after 11. Ryan Dungey has only 1 Loretta Lynn's amateur title to his name, and consequently received no support the majority of his amateur career.
I always wanted to be the hype and the guy to beat and the whole package in amateurs, and I always thought for myself, if you weren't a guy like Ricky or James that had an unbelievable amateur career, there's no way. From sitting in class thinking about it, to running on the roads thinking about it, to laying in bed at night wandering, I just hoped. It didn't matter how far behind I was at that moment from everybody else, I just hoped.
Dungey's father, Troy, built houses and sold them in order to fund the racing of his sons, Jade, Ryan, and Blake. Also, due to the extreme winter temperatures in Ryan's hometown of Belle Plaine, Minnesota, his father would drop him off with a family in Texas for a few weeks of practice. Ryan would be given $300 to cover practice fuel costs and be forced to make up his schoolwork when he returned.
I missed a whole month of school. I was behind on a lot of work, and I was goofing off a little bit in class in front of the teacher, and she snapped at me and she just told me, you need to give up your dreams of being a professional racer. That's not going to take you anywhere in life. I didn't say anything. I just remember getting really angry. I was going to do everything I can to be that.
It's all cool. Just going to go on next moto and do it again.
While Dungey was racing amateur motocross, the professional racing scene was being dominated by Ricky Carmichael. Carmichael rode his final years with factory Suzuki alongside team manager Roger DeCoster and engine technician Ian Harrison.
Ryan would come and see Roger and I at nearly every race, and he said, my dream is to race for you guys. I want to be on your team.
I remember talking to Roger, I don't want any money. I just want an opportunity to be on the best equipment, and I'll prove myself from there.
He called us. We were in Southern California testing with Carmichael, and he said, hey, I'm in the area. Do you mind if I come and ride with you guys today? I didn't really even pay any attention to him. I was busy with Ricky, and Roger came over and said, this kid is incredible. His corner speed is amazing. This guy has got huge potential.
After signing with Suzuki in 2006, Dungey won 4 championships under Harrison and DeCoster. In 2010, he was only the 2nd rider in history to win a Premier Class Supercross championship in his rookie season. And his outdoor championship that same year contained a record-breaking 19 moto wins for a rookie.
I mean, where would today be if Roger went and said, okay, let's just give this kid a try? He'd probably be working for me smearing concrete.
Despite their success, Roger DeCoster informed Dungey he would be leaving Suzuki and going to KTM, the same day they won their 2010 outdoor championship. At the time, KTM was one of the few companies in the sport that was increasing their race budget. After moving to KTM, DeCoster spent much of 2011 building a new dirt bike in the hopes of attracting Dungey during the off-season. Much of KTM's motivation for hiring DeCoster and spending the millions required to build the new machine stems from the fact that they have never won a Premier Class championship in the United States. A goal that may not exist if DeCoster had not come to the U.S. in 1981 and led Team USA to their first 13 Motocross of Nations championships, transporting the focal point of the sport from Europe to the U.S.
I always had a feeling that motocross was a sport that fit the American mentality, and took the place of the horse a little bit, you know, like, at least in my mind, Western movies were really big. The freedom, the outdoors, a lot of room. I saw that they had big potential here.
Roger DeCoster and Ryan Dungey are among those who live according to their dreams. Dungey rejoined his mentor in the fall of 2011 and gave KTM their first 4 Supercross wins in the spring of 2012.
Ryan Dungey crosses the finish line, clenching his fist.
Although their championship hopes disappeared when Dungey broke his collarbone, they entered the 2012 outdoor season as the clear favorite for the title.
For a rider, it takes a lot of trust. He decided to go with a brand that had never won. He is at the peak of his career. I really appreciate that trust he put in us.
There's no doubt it's going to be hard, and everybody knows it, but if there's a team or a group of people that can do this, I think we got it.
Ryan Dungey currently lives and trains in Florida, with his father Troy serving as his practice bike mechanic. Ryan's mother Michelle lives in the family home in Belle Plaine, Minnesota, trying to keep a stable base for Ryan's younger brother Blake. The most consistent family gathering is the weekend races.
And I miss Michelle. I miss coming home. If it wasn't for Ryan, I wouldn't be down there. I'm there for him until he don't want me no more, unless he slacks down. When it becomes about a paycheck and he's just out there screwing around and I see that, that's when I come back home and he can hire somebody else.
My daddy always scared me, you know, so I never really got out of line. They would do anything for us, and if that meant just going in debt so far, they were there. I turned pro, and I remember thinking, I started this with them, and I'd be damned if I ain't gonna end it with them.
When 2012 Supercross champion Ryan Villopoto was injured late in the Supercross season, many expected Ryan Dungey to dominate the outdoors. But 12 days before Hangtown, the conversation shifted when James Stewart announced he'd be racing on a Suzuki. Stewart hasn't raced the outdoors in 3 years, but the last time he did, he won 24 out of 24 motos, only the second rider in history to do so. He marked his return at Hangtown with practice lap times that were 3 seconds faster than Dungey's.
James, number 1.
With a 2 flat?
No, with a 159.4.
It's clear that Ryan is a warrior. You know, he worries.
In the corners, he wants to go down and then stand up.
When I started working back with him at the beginning of the year, he got more that way than he was when we parted at the end of 2010.
Dungey arguably lost the 2011 Supercross and Outdoor Championships due to bike failures. His worst finishes of the year occurred when his chain broke, his bike ran out of gas, and his bike showed up to the starting line a minute after the gate dropped. In the mind of a racer, the most difficult thing to overcome may be the knowledge that you can nearly do everything right and still lose.
Wow! Out of turn number 1 they come!
Michael Lessie, Ryan Dungey, and James Stewart. Dungey goes to the outside. Does he get the pass made? No! And James Stewart is right there!
Here comes Stewart. Stewart railed the outside. Stewart goes by Dungey. And now he's neck and neck with Alessi.
He gets the pass made!
Dungey now goes to the inside of Alessi. Dungey goes into the number 2 ride. Here comes the number 5. Dungey says it's go time. He is all over the rear wheel of James Stewart.
Oh, and Stewart gets sideways. And Ryan Dungey trapped behind. Oh, and they hold him up in the corner.
Dungey is not having a good day as he comes through these lap riders.
That opened up about a 4-second cushion.
Yeah, that is unfortunate for the number 5.
Criticism of Dungey's aggression represents an opposing school of thought as to why he lost the championship last year. In 2011, he finished in second place 15 times in the outdoors, and his performance at Hangtown coming through lapped riders only restarted the conversation.
I laugh when all these other people go, oh, you know, he's not aggressive enough, he's not this, he's not that. If anybody actually seen him get mad, oh my God. I hope nobody experiences that because he could level the world. He has a terrible temper, but he never shows it. It's part of what he does. He's full-blown control.
With a population around 7,000, Ryan Dungey's hometown of Belle Plaine, Minnesota, could be viewed as a place of limited options and opportunities. Annie's is one of the handful of cafes in town. and it was the traditional breakfast location of the Dungey family when eating out.
We've been in business for 23 years in Belle Plaine. You don't see many professional athletes come out of a smaller town like this.
He was kind of a different eater because he wanted to be on this health kick, so add this or take this out of his omelet, egg whites, no cheese. My niece was a hostess at the time.
His family came in, and his dad always liked to tease him. He was like, "Oh, Ryan, this is the one you wanted to see." I just flew it off. I was like, whatever.
I don't know how many times they're coming in. He finally asked her on a date.
Ryan comes up to pay, and he's kind of awkward, like, doesn't really say much. And I was like, all right, see ya. He leaves. And it was probably 5 minutes later, the work phone rings. He asked me to hang out that night, and we went to Chipotle for our first date. And it's all history from there.
I do need a girl who's gonna support me. You're always trying to be better and you're always stressed out. And sometimes you just need to go to a helping person. Like I can go to Lindsay and her mind's clear.
Among Dungey's main stresses going into round 2 in Texas are the resurgent James Stewart, who convincingly won both motos at round 1, and his brand new KTM machine. Dungey's bike ran out of gas at Texas last year, and his new machine has never endured the stresses of the American outdoors.
A brand that's built in Europe coming here, they don't realize the heat issue with the bike. We were full throttle trying to reduce the heat in our bike.
Intense heat and humidity make Freestone Raceway one of the most grueling tracks in the series, and Dungey is known to have the best fitness in the sport. Stewart, on the other hand, has not completed an outdoor series in 3 years, making Texas the first major test of his fitness.
That Texas race, James, like normal, quickly got to the front. Ryan made his way up there, and then they started the battle.
Dungey pounding on him, knocking on him.
Stewart out of control, almost lost.
That's the type of pressure. Dungey again.
He's all over James now. He looks like he wants to get by in a hurry.
Dungey works the outside. James Stewart, shoulder to shoulder. Dungey goes to the inside. That's not going to be where the pass happens.
Let me tell you, the roost from a 450 is so painful. If someone throws a rock at you as hard as they can, that's what it's like, non-stop.
Here they come. Can Dungey make a run? Dungey pulls up alongside Stewart. Here comes the checkers. It's going to be James Stewart.
Sometimes he looks at his competitors and doesn't see himself as right there with them. I would say there's a little insecurity. I find him doubting himself, and I just told him, I said, you should see yourself how everyone else sees you and have a little more confidence.
After that, I was like, geez, like she's telling me this? She kind of lets me do my training. She doesn't question me. And all of a sudden, the one thing that she says about racing, like, wow, she really pays attention. Like, she can really read me.
After Texas, Stewart had beaten Dungey in 4 straight motos. At both the first 2 nationals, the day began with Stewart putting down qualifying lap times that were at least 2 seconds faster than Dungey's. But at round 3 in Colorado, Stewart's foundation for confidence was taken away.
James went 207, and I was like, oh my gosh, what now? Then Ryan went 207, then James went 205, and I was like, what? And then Ryan went 1/10 off, and then I was okay. James knew that when the gate dropped, he needed to get away and quickly. In the back of his mind, there was a concern.
Stewart goes to the inside. Timmy moves to the head of the class.
He did it just now. It is James Stewart. Now to the number 2 position comes Ryan Dungey.
Dungey gets in and out of the corner clean, and now he gets a chance to go after Stewart.
James Stewart goes down.
James Stewart is on the ground, and we have riders all making their way around him.
We are looking at the number 5 of Ryan Dungey.
James Stewart, Timmy, looks a little dinged up. He's pulled to the side of the track to recuperate.
Stewart injured his wrist in the crash and did not finish the moto. Dungey took advantage by dominating the field, taking the overall and passing Stewart in the championship points race.
When you matched the lap time in the second practice, that was the beginning of it.
And all week, I was like, I gotta match it.
When you win, you have to keep your feet on the ground also and not get carried away that it is going to be all automatic. We all know about the possibility of injury in this sport. It takes very little to derail the best program that you could put together.
Coming up next, if Ryan Dungey is to win his second Premier Class title in the outdoors, he will have to labor through the remaining rounds of the 2012 outdoor season.
James coming back, every time we were all nervous.
Many parents of amateur racers moved to warmer states for the perceived advantage of riding all year round. Ryan Dungey's riding time was greatly limited by the climate of his hometown, Belle Plaine, Minnesota, and he was not a winner much of his amateur career.
For me, it was just a fun life as a kid. You got to go to school, did other sports. Then afterwards, you'd go to my grandparents' house because my mom and dad were working. And I just remember all the good times, you know, like from us going to fairs.
Dungey's grandmother, Barb, was among his strongest supporters. But from the ages of 10 to 15, Ryan watched her lose a painful battle with cancer.
We went to go see her, and of course she was, you know, dead and laying there, and I just remember looking at her like, wow, she's gone, like she's really gone. She was dead, you know? I'm sorry. I think what really changed me as a person was realizing, like, I have to start living life to the fullest, and if I wasn't doing it right, I need to start.
Something flipped a switch in him, and that was kind of it. He worked his hardest. He did everything he needed to do. It was just, from then on, he won.
A month after his grandmother passed away, Dungey won his first amateur title. A year later, he won his first Loretta Lynn's championship. He then bothered Roger DeCoster for a year, until DeCoster gave him an opportunity to race in the pros. Dungey and DeCoster went on to win 4 championships together, and are now working on their 5th.
We knew our main competition was going to be Stewart, and I felt that with Ryan consistency that he has had over his career, that if we were in the hunt the first couple races, we had a good chance.
Dungey and Team KTM earned their first win of the season at round 3 in Colorado, while his competitor James Stewart scored no points due to a crash suffered in Moto-1. Stewart would show up at 2 of the next 6 nationals, but Dungey would beat him each moto.
James coming back, every time we were all nervous. The one that sticks out in my mind is Redbud. He had been off for a few weeks and I'm sure was well prepared.
And Dungey is pulling away from James Stewart.
James just couldn't get it done. I'm not sure why, but Ryan was definitely better.
After Redbud, James Stewart would not show up for 3 rounds, and Dungey won the overall each time, inching KTM closer to their first Premier Class championship in the United States. At round 10 at Unadilla, Dungey was 85 points ahead of Mike Alessi in the championship. If he could gain 16 points on Alessi by the end of the second moto, he would clinch the championship.
Dungey goes down. He's got to move it up, but he's been passed.
He's dropped all the way back to 10th place at this point. Getting reports that Alessi's got some sort of bike issues out there right now, smoking and pulling off.
Dungey is on the move, 10th to 3rd in just 7 laps, and he is all over the backside of Brock Tickle. Dungey right behind him. That gap has shrunk. It might be the opportunity that Dungey was looking for. It's neck and neck, side by side. Dungey able to shut the door and maybe snap a finger right there. And your winner of Moto number 1, gonna go to Ryan Dungey.
With his win in Moto-1 and Mike Alessi's bike failure, a 10th in Moto-2 was all that was required for Dungey to win the national championship.
Get the best guy in the throttle control. Let's do it, buddy.
Although there are no guarantees in motocross, Ryan Dungey is currently the most consistent rider in the sport. In the last 4 years, he has missed only 5 out of 105 races due to injury. In Moto-2 at Unadilla, he moved into the lead at lap 3 and followed his routine.
Ryan lives for the sport. He tries to do everything possible to make his body prepared for the race, and he's getting the benefits of that.
For Ryan Dungey, it was his 3rd Premier Class championship in 3 years. For his team, it was their first in 40 years of racing in the United States. For Roger DeCoster, it took only 2 years for him to win another title after Suzuki let him go in 2010.
The best feeling championship that I've been involved with as a team manager, because from the outside it didn't look so possible. I also wanted to prove a point to the people that couldn't give me an answer where I was before.
He'll tell us, okay, I'm going to take 2 weeks off. And after 5 days, he's already calling Roger, can you speed up that bike? I think I'm going to go back next week. And Roger will tell him, no, Ryan, just stay at home, relax. But he always ends up cutting his 2 or 3 weeks short, always.
He just has had to work so hard for everything that he doesn't want to get cocky. I think he gets nervous that if he would get too confident that things might go wrong. Maybe it's a good thing he doesn't see himself there because it keeps him going.
Still inspired by those who battle cancer, Dungey organized a 60-mile bike race near his childhood home in Minnesota to benefit the St. Jude's Children's Hospital, a place that provides cancer treatment to kids and housing to their parents free of charge.
Over $1.5 million to run St. Jude every day. It's all donations. Seeing my grandma go through what she went through, I want to help.
Ryan feels a broader obligation than just the track. He realizes beyond his years, the opportunity that he has to impact the lives of a larger number of people.
Ryan Dungey will always wonder how he can be a better son, brother, partner, and racer. But if you are satisfied, you will never be able to dream.